Hey dudes, and this is a review of Rarevision VHS for Android. Alright, I'm back. So let's check out the app itself. So here we are in the app, and let's check out the controls. Let's start from the right. On the top right is the light button, in which it turns on and turns off your flashlight. Up next is the titler button, which shows text on the video. You can also press and hold the titler button to make that title blink, flash, something. Up next is the record button, where you actually record the video. You can also press this button while it's recording to pause it, and press it again if you want to resume. Press the recording button again to stop the recording. You can also hold the record button to take a picture. That sound means it has taken a picture. Up next is the selfie button, which basically changes the camera from the front camera to the back camera. Up next is the menu button, which shows the options like contrast, saturation, detail, timecode, and more settings. Let's tap the settings to see more options. As you can see, there are more options here. Up next are the zoom buttons, T for tight and W for wide. The T is for zooming in if you press and hold, and W for wide so you can zoom out. You can also change the video filters by swiping left or right. Let's check out some filters. Like this one, this one, this one. This one is my favorite because it's the high 8 filter and it's very clean, but it still has that VHS look. This one, this very groovy one, this posterizing effect, triple one, this weird spinny thing filter. Pretty cool. Then we got the inverted one, black and white, just red, just green, just blue. And you know, the video test thing. Then there's no video, which is nice to look at if there's no text, but it says no video, so it's like a little annoying. Then we got static, which is the last filter, and we're back to the start. I would like to add that you can also make the video look worse by dragging up to make it really distorted, and if you want it to be cleaner, swipe down. Much better. Alright, so that was a somewhat brief overview of the app, but here's my review. So let's start with the pros. First is that it has the aesthetic down. It's not as exactly VHS-y, because I've seen VHS tapes and recordings of those, and it's not exactly like this, but it has the aesthetic down. Second is that this app has a lot of options. Like you can put a title, you can zoom in and zoom out, those cheesy zooming in and zooming outs and stuff. You can change the cameras from the front camera to the back camera, and a lot of options is pretty good. Lastly, the third one is that the filters are great. My favorite is of course the high 8, which makes it a real somewhat clean VHS look. And there's also like really artsy filters that you can experiment in. But personally, that high 8 is pretty good. Alright, and here are the cons. First con is that it only records in 720p. I have the iOS version of this app, and this app on Android cannot record in 1080p, which in hindsight doesn't really matter because VHS videos are usually in 480p, but it has a limitation of being only 720p at 30 frames per second, and there are VHS recordings that can be 60 frames per second. This is not it. The second con, and the only other con, is when you record widescreen videos. Let me show you what I mean. So this is what a widescreen recording of the VHS app looks like. It looks very cinematic, like, you know, there's black bars on top and the bottom, but can it be like 16 by 9? And this is not 16 by 9. This is like not 16 by 9. The output is gonna be 16 by 9, but these black bars are annoying. Don't know why it happens like that. So dudes, I'm gonna rate this app 3 out of 5 stars. 3 because this is a paid app, and I'm comparing it to the iOS version, which is way better because it can record in 1080p 60 frames per second, and this can only record in 720p 30 frames per second for some reason. Maybe it's because of Android itself or the limitations depending on the device, but I'm using a Samsung Galaxy S21, which is pretty capable, which is weird. I have a pretty capable smartphone, but weird limitations for Android. So that was a review of Rarevision VHS for Android. So anyways, dudes, I'm Newecreator, and see you later. That review is a little sus.